Hello my dear students and welcome back to Excellence Batch, and I am your Diksha ma'am. So in the previous class we have started the chapter Human Reproduction, and maybe this will be the first class for some students, but if this is your first class guys, just go back, watch lecture number 1, the introduction part of Human Reproduction, and come back to this lecture. So this is lecture number 2 and we are going to start with very interesting things of this chapter. But as I have given you one homework where you have to read NCERT, and I have also told you that it's a ritual in my class that I will definitely ask you a question from the previous lecture before starting the new lecture, right? So let's start with that guys, but before that what we are going to cover today? The male reproductive system. We are going to study testes and the duct system. This is really very important. Every year around one question is asked from this topic. Okay, so don't miss that out. Alright, so tell me, give me the answers. And yes, definitely you also have to, give yourself scores here. First question is, human are oviparous or viviparous? A very, very simple question. Sequence of human reproduction, you have to write the sequence, and yes, don't be lazy, you have to write this in your notebook, and I hope you all have purchased new copies. Gestation is, and what is the meaning of insemination? Last question, which embryonic stage undergoes implantation? Very simple questions. Okay, now pause the video, write the answer, and now after you have written all your answers, come back and see what's right and what's wrong. Okay. Humans are, you all know, they are viviparous. That means we human give birth to young ones. Okay, next. Sequence of human reproduction. So how does it start? It starts with gametogenesis, the formation of gametes. Then the gamete need to enter inside female genital tract, that is insemination. That I have also asked the question here. After insemination, what happened? Fertilization. After fertilization, the embryo gets embedded in uterine wall. You call it as implantation. After implantation, the pregnancy goes on. That is gestation, and the last is delivery of the baby, parturition. Okay, so that's the answer. Gestation is embryonic development, where the embryo gets developed and becomes fully formed fetus, which comes out in the form of a little tiny baby. Insemination means, yes, it is the deposition of semen, and semen contains sperm. It contains sperm in female genital tract. In female genital tract. Okay. Last, which embryonic stage undergoes implantation, guys? You all know about that. That's blastula. Okay, now give yourself some scores. This question is for 1 marks. This one is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 marks. This one is for 1 marks. This one is for 1 and this one is for 1. So total is 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. Now you have to tell me what is your score out of 10. Be very honest. Do not feel shy to tell your score. If you will keep on telling me score in the comments in every class, you will yourself see that in the next classes you will improve, because now you will feel, no, I have to improve my score. If you will not evaluate yourself, you are never gonna improve. Trust me. Okay, but we are here to improve ourselves, right? Alright, so that's about how much you have learned about the last class. Okay, so let's get started with the male reproductive system. So as you know, we humans, we are unisexual organisms. We are dioecious. What does mean? What does that mean? If I say we human, we are unisexual. By unisexual, I mean that one, there is a female, and second type of organism is a male. There are 2 types of organism, one is a female, another is a male, and we have differentiate or distinguished them on the basis of their reproductive system. Like in the female reproductive system will be there, and in the male's male reproductive system will be there. And also you can distinguish a male from the female, and that property is known as sexual dimorphism. What do you call it as? Sexual dimorphism. What is sexual dimorphism? That just by looking at an organism, you can, you can just say that this is a male, this is a female. Okay, because if there is a boy, there is a girl, there are certain character. If I am talking about adult boy and a girl, or man and a woman, females usually have longer hair, they don't have beard, they have breast, right? They have wide hips. So these are certain characters by which you can tell whether she is a female or the male. So that property or that character is known as sexual dimorphism, that you can distinguish sexually by just looking at their morphology. What is morphology? The outer appearance. So what does sexual dimorphism means? It means we can distinguish female and male by their external appearance. By their external appearance. Got it? Sexual means sexuality, di means to morphism, morphology. Morphology means external character. You can distinguish a male from the female by just looking at their external appearances. Fine. So that's our property. Now, so since we are going to start with the first one, that's male reproductive system. In the male reproductive system, we have a very important main organ which is testes. As in the previous class also, I have told you they are primary reproductive organ. What's primary? Primary means main. If I say you should know what is your primary duty, that means what is your main duty? Your main or the primary duty right now is to study, and secondary is to have other joys of life, right? Like watching television, all the time, or is watching reels on the phone, just like that. Okay. So at this time, you should know what is your primary work. Your primary work is to study because you have a goal. So if the primary shifts from study to the watching reel on Instagram or YouTube shorts, then everything will shift, right? So just like that, testes is performing a very important function, which is a main function to make an organism. What is that? Gamete. Without gamete, organisms cannot be formed, right? So in organism, I means human. So because testes are performing a very important function of gametogenesis, that's why we have termed them as primary reproductive organ. Apart from that, once the gamete is formed, we want that gamete to come out of the body. So for that, we have a pipe system, that's genital duct. That's genital duct. And then we also have external genitalia known as penis, which will help in depositing sperm. And then the glands. Glands will give the secretion of semen. You know semen, what is semen? It's a white color fluid which contains a secretion from these glands, right? And in that sperms are present. Since sperms are cells, you need a medium for their transport. You just can't transport a cell because that's not visible at all. Imagine if nature give you just sperms, even even if it is in large quantity, you will not be able to visualize it. Then how does fertilization or insemination will take place? So what nature has given you? Nature has given you a secretion, and that secretion is given by this gland, and when the secretion and sperm they get mixed, it becomes semen. Which is a white color fluid that comes out from the penis during sexual intercourse. Fine guys, so the nature knows everything. So this is the overview diagram of the male reproductive system. Let's have a look and then we'll start with the detail. So you can see here, this is testes, which is present in this sac-like structure known as scrotum. So like in females, ovaries are always present in abdomen. Unlike that of here, the testes are present outside the abdomen. Testes are present outside the abdomen in a sac-like structure known as scrotum. This is the external genitalia known as penis, and here comes the duct system. In the duct system, we have this epididymis, this vas deferens. It is moving from here, meeting with the other duct and moving out as urethra from the penis. Okay, so this is the entire pipe system. Just think like a layman right now. You don't need to concern with the names. Okay, all right. So these are the glands. You can see here. It's a prostate gland. Seminal vesicle is here. Seminal vesicle is there, and the third gland is bulbourethral gland. So there are three glands. I am putting a star on them. The glands are accessory glands, seminal vesicles, prostate and bulbourethral. Now it's time to start with the detail. So we are going to take each structure one by one. We are going to start with, guys, testes. Let's get started with the testes. Some people write testes like this, some write it like this, and some also call it as testicles. Some also call it as testicles. So as I've told you, these testes or testicles, they are the primary reproductive organ. What are they? Primary reproductive organ. Why primary? Because they produce gametes. Why primary? Because they produce male gamete. Okay, tell me the name of a male gamete. What do you call it as? Sperm, also known as spermatozoa. Now, this testes, what it basically is, it's an organ, right? Now, if I talk about more clearly, testis is a heterocrine gland. Yes, you hear me right? It's a heterocrine gland. So most of you must have heard of it and most of you may not have heard of it. Heterocrine gland, okay, if you don't remember, let me just recall that. It's a part of your chemical control and coordination chapter. Heterocrine glands are those glands which have two portions. One is exocrine, another is endocrine. Guys, there are two types of glands, exocrine gland and endocrine glands. Exocrine glands are those glands which have ducts. Just like your salivary gland have duct. Salivary gland produces saliva and throw it outside in your buccal cavity. So it is throwing its secretion through duct. It is throwing its secretion through duct. So salivary gland is an exocrine gland. But if I talk about pituitary gland does not have a duct. It produces hormone. Because it does not have a duct, it will pour its secretion in the blood and then it will go to the target cell. You understand? In the exocrine glands, there are three types of gland. One gland are exocrine, other are endocrine, and then we have third category of heterocrine. Heterocrine glands are those glands which have both the portion exo and endocrine. Exocrine glands always have ducts and these are ductless. Their secretions are always hormones. Now your testes have half of the portion which is exocrine, half of the portion which is endocrine. You must have heard that testes produces hormone. It produces hormone androgen, right? So that's why it is endocrine. But it also has sperm. It also produces sperm that move out through duct. You got it? It also produces sperm that move out through duct. So that portion is its exocrine portion. So we say that testes is a heterocrine gland. Why? Because sperms are the part of the exocrine because they move out through ducts. Whereas hormone, which is androgen, it moves out through blood. So that part is the endocrine part. Got it? Okay. Now if I talk about testes, it is oval in shape. It is oval in shape. The length is 4 to 5 centimeter and width is around 2 to 3 centimeter. Right? This is the dimensions. It is oval in shape like this. where it is present. As I have told you, it is not in the abdomen, it is outside the abdomen. It is outside the abdomen. Let me tell you how. So, if I talk about location, testes is present outside the abdomen. Outside the abdomen. Now, how outside the abdomen? How it is practically possible? So, nature has given a sac-like structure. In the sac-like structure, what is its name? Scrotum. Scrotum. Now, why there is a need? Imagine this is, guys, abdomen. Okay, this is abdomen. So, abdomen has this shape, sac-like structure where your testes are present. And how many testes are there? One pair. How many? One pair. So, if this is scrotum, the sac-like structure, it contains one pair. How much, guys? One pair. One pair of testes. Now, it is present in the scrotum, that's outside the abdomen. Why? What's the reason behind this? Because abdomen has a particular temperature of 36 degrees Celsius. This temperature is not appropriate for the formation of gamete, and you call it as spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means formation of sperm, right? So, for the formation of sperm, we need 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower temperature than your body temperature, right? So, for example, your body temperature is 36. So, we need around 33.5 to around 34 degrees Celsius of temperature for spermatogenesis. If nature would have given you testes in the abdomen, the spermatogenesis can never take place. Why? Because the temperature is 36 degrees Celsius. But for spermatogenesis, we need 34 degrees Celsius. So, nature came up with the idea, why not to give the testes outside the abdomen. So, they have given you in the scrotum, right. So, why there is a need to put it outside the abdomen? Because the lower temperature is needed for spermatogenesis. What is spermatogenesis? Formation of sperm. How much? 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than your body temperature. Okay, alright. Now, this testis was never in the scrotum during embryonic stages, right? For example, if a mother is pregnant and mother have a baby boy in the womb. So, in the early stages, or we can say before 7 months, you know na, baby lives for 9 months in mother's womb, right? So, during before 7th month of pregnancy, the baby's testes, they are present in the abdomen. Where are they present? In the abdomen. Later on, during 7th month of pregnancy, the hormone comes. Which hormone? Testosterone. It will ask the testes, or it will allow the testes, or it will push the testes to move inside the scrotum. You hear it, right? Before 7 months of pregnancy, the testes are present in the abdomen only, right? And during 7 months of pregnancy, under the influence of testosterone, these testes, they move down into the scrotum, right? So, that's a very important we can say event, because if it does not occur, the baby who get delivered with testes in the abdomen can be sterile. That means the baby cannot produce sperm, right? You got it? So, it's always in the abdomen before the 7 months of pregnancy. During 7 months, it gets descent into the scrotum under the influence of hormone. Okay, under the influence of hormone testosterone. Another point to note here is that this testes, okay, I have told you it always need a 2 degrees Celsius temperature lower than the body temperature. That's why it is outside the abdomen. Okay, what if the season is very cold? It's a winter season. What will happen at that time? Imagine the temperature outside is around 0 degree or -1. Then how does scrotum will maintain its temperature? It is not taking, it is not connected to abdomen. then how does scrotum will take the temperature? See, there are muscles involved. So, there are certain muscles present. One are dartus muscle, these are dartus muscle, and these are cremaster muscles. If you can remember the name, it's good. If you can't, it's on you. Okay. So, there are two muscles present here, guys. This is cremaster muscle and this is dartus muscle. Imagine the temperature outside is very low. So, at that time these muscles will contract and put the scrotum near the abdomen like this. As a result, the scrotum will be near the abdomen and it can easily take heat from the abdomen and it can maintain its temperature. You got it? No. You know, sometimes when it is winter, the male scrotum gets contracted and come near the abdomen. The reason is because outside temperature is lower, but scrotum needs a constant temperature around 34 degrees Celsius. So, at that time, to maintain the temperature, what the scrotum does? It will contract its muscle, move near the abdomen so that it can take heat from the abdomen, right. So, here you learn two things. One, testes are not always outside the abdomen. Before 7 months of pregnancy, the baby fetus have testes in the abdomen. During 7 months of pregnancy, under the influence of testosterone, the testes move downwards. Second thing you learn here is that sometimes when the outside temperature is lower, these muscles contract and they maintain the temperature of scrotum by pushing the scrotum near the abdomen. Let's write this down with me. I hope you are making notes. First, muscles in the scrotum helps in maintaining scrotal temperature when outside temperature is low. Outside temperature is low. Muscles contract and pushes scrotum near the abdomen, which takes heat from abdomen. Okay. Second point, what you learn, guys? The testes descent means to come down, descent from abdomen during 7th month of pregnancy. 7th month of pregnancy under the influence of testosterone. Testosterone is androgen, the male hormone. Testosterone hormone. It's a male hormone. Male have only one hormone, that's why males are not complicated. Females are, we say na, the females are little complicated. Why? Because we are run by our hormones, guys. We can't help it, right? Now, some of you must be wondering, ma'am, why you make us write so much? See, if you remember, this is batch for which class? 12th class. And you guys have to give board exams also. And whenever you keep on preparing for NEET, you don't have a habit of writing things. And that's why you get low score in the subjective, in the school exam or subjective exams. I always want my students to write the things if you are from 12th class. If you would have been another student who have passed 12th class, then we must not be writing a lot of things. Okay. So, make a habit to write things. Guys, I will always suggest, good things and great things for you. So, don't worry about that. Okay. Alright. So, now about the another thing here. Another thing is about testis structure. Okay, let's talk about that. So, I have told you this is how in the scrotum testes present. This is how testes are present. Okay. So this is abdomen. This is scrotum. Okay. So you just can't separate a very important organ. You cannot separate a very important organ from the other body. Okay. So somehow they are connected. Somehow they are connected. How? Abdomen and scrotum, they are connected to each other via this canal. Via this canal. You call this canal as inguinal canal. What canal? Inguinal canal. Up to this everything is fused like this. Okay. So abdomen and scrotum, they both are connected via this small canal known as inguinal canal. So if anything has to enter inside scrotum or it has to leave the scrotum, it has to pass through this inguinal. It has to pass through the inguinal. So inguinal canal is a canal that is connecting abdomen with the scrotum. So for example, there are certain ducts. There are certain ducts which has to move out and enter the abdomen. If you can see this diagram, you can see this is scrotum, this is abdomen, and this duct is moving out and entering the abdomen. So how it is moving out? It is moving out with the help of, or it is passing through a canal, and the name of this canal is inguinal canal. Okay. So through the inguinal canal a lot of things are passing, like vas deferens, like your nerves, right, like your blood vessels and your cremaster muscles, and they all are making a small pipe like structure. If you can see, they all are packed together. They all are packed together like this. They all are packed together. You got it? Blood vessels, nerves, the ducts and muscles, they are all moving towards the abdomen, but they are moving not separately, collectively. They have decided we'll go collectively, and they form this structure known as spermatic cord. What is it? Spermatic cord. So two spermatic cords, they move out from the scrotum, enters the abdomen. One from each testes. What does it contains? It contains vas deferens, your blood vessels, your nerves and the cremaster muscles. Okay, you got it? So spermatic cord, they are two in number, they are small rod like structure. What does it contain? It contains duct, blood vessels, nerve and muscles which are moving out through this canal towards the abdomen. This is how the system is. Okay. Alright, let's talk about the structure of testes now. Let's talk about its internal structure. So if we draw the testes, this is how they are. Oval in shape. Okay, this is your testes. Outside it has a protective layer of tunica vaginalis. Outside it has a protective layer known as tunica vaginalis. Okay, now inside of that a connective tissue is present, and this connective tissue, okay, and this connective tissue is distributing the internal compartments, or we can say it is distributing the testes into compartments, right? So inside it has a connective tissue which is distributing the inside space of your testes into these compartments. So this entire is your connective tissue, and the name of this connective tissue is tunica albuginea. What do you call it as? Tunica albuginea. So this tunica albuginea. So tunica albuginea is basically a connective tissue. It is distributing, or it is dividing the internal structure of testes into these compartments known as testicular lobules. In each testes, they are 250 in number. Okay, per testes, how many are there? 250. So in one testes, 250 testicular lobules are there. Inside these testicular lobules, small round structures are present known as seminiferous tubule. What are these? Seminiferous tubule. So inside of them are present seminiferous tubule. How many are there? In each testicular lobule, 1, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules are present in each testicular lobule. You got it? Yes. So this is a section, longitudinal section. What is longitudinal? The section which is taken in this manner. For example, if someone cut me like this into two halves, that's longitudinal section. If someone cut me like this, that's a transverse section. So here inside the testes, you can see that small compartments are present known as testicular lobules, and each testicular lobule contain 1 to 3 seminiferous tubule, and this is a structural and functional unit of testes. Now let's talk about this very important structure, seminiferous tubule. Got it? Okay. So this seminiferous tubule, as I've told you, they are round structures. What are they, guys? Round structures like this. They are 1 to 3 number. They are 1 to 3 number in each testicular lobule. So if someone asks you how many seminiferous tubules are present in each testis, what will you say? If someone asks you how many seminiferous tubules are present in each testis, what will you say? Very simple question. 250 to 750. How many testicular lobules are there? 250. Okay. How many are there? 250. And in each testicular lobule, how many seminiferous tubule are there? 1, 2, 3. So 250 to 750. Right. So around 250 to 750 seminiferous tubules are present inside each testes. Okay. So these are seminiferous tubules. So when you will take the section of testes, you can see these round structure. These are seminiferous tubule. Now what do they contain? So these seminiferous tubule contain cells, definitely are tissues, right? So there are two types of cells present. One are cuboidal cells, cube-like cells. One are cube-like cells like this. Cuboidal cells, cube-like cells. Okay. Cuboidal cells, cube-like cells. Other are longer, taller cells. Other are taller cells, columnar cells, like this. Columnar cells, like this. They are dispersed over the entire seminiferous tubule, like this. Okay, and I have drawn them very far away, but they are very near to each other. So if you see the testes, above there is a layer of these columnar cell, down there is a layer of cuboidal cell. This is how it is. I can't draw the 3D structure, fine. For example, if I am looking something like that, so above there is a layer of Sertoli cell, below them is a layer of cube-like cell. Okay, so I have told you the name of these columnar cell. What's the name of these cells? These cells are columnar cells known as Sertoli cells. Sertoli cells are also known as nurse cells or sustentacular cells. Sustentacular cells. How are they? They are columnar, tall cell. Whereas these cells are male germ cells. They are also known as spermatogonia, also known as germ mother cell. Why? Because these cells, they undergoes meiosis. You know, whenever you have to form sperm, you have to undergo meiotic division, or whenever you have to form a gamete, even if it is egg, even if it is sperm, meiosis should take place. So you must have heard of meiosis, right? So when these germ mother cell, they undergo meiosis, they form sperm. So these are the cells which undergoes meiosis to form sperms. So let me write this down. They undergoes meiosis to form sperms. Okay. So in the seminiferous tubule, two main cells are present. Say it with me. One is male germ cell, second is Sertoli cell. So what's the function of male germ cell? They undergo meiosis to form sperm. Sertoli cell has no direct role, that means it will not undergo meiosis. Okay. Now when they will undergo meiosis, they form different stages, you know, or if I say, it is not like the male germ cell will do division and directly sperm is formed. No, it undergoes a number of cell stages, right? It undergoes a number of cell stages, then the sperm is formed. Just like that, when the male germ cell undergo meiosis, it will form primary spermatocyte, and then it will undergo second meiosis to form another, another type of cell, okay, and then it will form another type of cell known as spermatid, and then it will form sperms like this, which are present in the lumen portion like this, in the lumen portion like this, okay. So, male germ cell to sperm, different stages of cells they move, right? Or we can say, if a sperm has to be formed from male germ cell, it has to undergo through various stages. So, it is a kind of a development of sperm which we will be studying in the spermatogenesis, okay guys. So, what type of cell is this? This is like primary spermatocyte. So, male germ cell first gets converted into primary spermatocyte, then it will get converted into secondary spermatocyte. Secondary spermatocyte, and then it will get turned into spermatid. Okay, let me just write it down here. It will get converted into spermatid, and then spermatid gets converted into sperm. Now, if someone who is like James Bond must have noticed, I have made sperms on the heads of Sertoli cell. Have you noticed? Have you noticed? No. Okay. So, let us talk about the functions of Sertoli cell. The main function of the Sertoli cell, because they are nurse cells, what does nurse do? Nurse take care of the patient, right? So, they will also take care of the sperm. That is why their sperms, they are attached to the Sertoli cell, just like the mother take care of the baby. So, you will see in the initial stages, babies are always like more into their mothers, right? Why? Because they get milk from the mother, right? So, some exceptions are always there. Some babies are very, like that. When they want milk, they go to mother. Otherwise, they are more have affection towards father, right? And their mothers have always complained, no, they don't love me and all, right? That's different story, fine. So, here sperm has to go to Sertoli cell. They want Sertoli cell. Why? Because the main function of Sertoli cell is that they give nourishment. They give nourishment to the growing sperm. So, let us get started with the function of Sertoli cell. Functions of Sertoli cell. They are very important. They do not seem like, but they are very important. First function is nourishment. Nourishment to sperms. Second, whenever spermatid has to convert into sperm, the lot of changes takes place. The lot of changes takes place. Okay, let me tell you. Spermatid looks just like this. Spermatid undergoes a lot of changes to become a very tiny sperm-like structure. It loses a lot of things. It loses a lot of things. So, sometimes it need a lot of things, nourishment to get converted into sperm. So, for that tentacular cell or Sertoli cell plays a vital role, or I can say it also nourishes sperm and it also helps into the conversion of spermatid into sperm. Okay. Another thing, sometimes the sperms are defective, they are dead. So, at that time Sertoli cell can also eat the dead sperms. They can also eat the worn out part of sperms, and that property is phagocytosis, So, they can undergo phagocytosis of worn out sperm or its parts. What is phagocytosis? Eating or engulfing the waste or the microbe, just like macrophage does. You know what are macrophages? Okay, you know WBCs. So, some WBCs, they also eat microbes, and that property is phagocytosis. So, phagocytosis is also done by Sertoli cell. Apart from that, they also secrete AMF. AMF. Okay. What is AMF? Anti-Mullerian factor. Anti-Mullerian factor. Okay. When a boy is in mother's womb, or I can say initially, you must have heard that initially you don't get to know whether the fetus or embryo is a boy or a girl. Why? Initially, both female or pro-female and male ducts are formed. For example, if I say Mullerian duct is a female duct. If the embryo is a female, the Mullerian duct will develop and form fallopian tube, uterus, the parts of female reproductive system. You got it? For example, I was a female. I am a female, okay. So, I was a female embryo. So, when I was in my mother's womb, I had a Mullerian duct, and that duct grows and it forms my fallopian tube, uterus and my other structures, okay. So, now if a person or a baby is a boy, it will also have Mullerian duct, but we don't want it to form fallopian tube, otherwise it will be a female. If the embryo is a boy's embryo, then its Mullerian ducts need to be destroyed. It has it. Every embryo, boy's embryo have Mullerian duct. Okay. Every embryo have Mullerian duct, whether it is a boy or a girl. But in the boy, these Mullerian ducts are destroyed or inhibited by this AMF. Which is secreted by Sertoli cell. So, when a male embryo develops its testes, the Sertoli cell will keep on secreting this, because now it's time testes have developed, we want to form a boy. So, it's time to develop a boy and inhibit its Mullerian duct, because Mullerian ducts are female duct. So, Mullerian ducts are a female duct in embryo. These ducts are inhibited in male fetus by AMF. So, AMF is like a protein. AMF is like a protein. Got it? Simple. So, these are the very important functions of Sertoli cell. First, nourishment. Second, it helps in the conversion of spermatid to sperm. Third, it causes phagocytosis of worn out parts of sperm, and last it secretes AMF. AMF is important in male embryo to inhibit female ducts so that no female structures can be formed in the male embryo. Got it? Okay. Back to this diagram. Now, in between these seminiferous tubule, this one structure is, guys, a seminiferous tubule. Let me just write this also so that there should be no confusion after the class. Seminiferous tubule, seminiferous tubule, seminiferous tubule. In between the seminiferous tubule is present this tissue, and this tissue is a stromal tissue. Which tissue? Stromal tissues, and the spaces are interstitial spaces. So, the spaces between this seminiferous tubule are interstitial spaces. Let me just clear this. Interstitial means in between. For example, if I say there are two cells, the space between the two cells is interstitial space. Interstitial means in between. It literally means in between. Okay. So, in between the seminiferous tubule is present interstitial space, and it contains a tissue known as stromal tissue. So, stromal tissue is present in a space. Is present in interstitial space. Got it? Okay. Now, this interstitial space is very important. Why? Because it contains blood vessels. So, you hear me right? The blood vessels are also present. Apart from that, it contains a very important cells known as Leydig or interstitial cells. Now, also apart from this, some immunocompetent cells are present. Means these are the cells of immunity or immune system. Got it? No, you don't got it. So, these are what? Blood vessel. These are immunocompetent cell. Immuno means immunity, competent means they are ready to kill someone. So, these are the immune cell that are needed Why? Somehow, if through blood, if the microbes enter, we want to kill it. So nature has already given you some immune cells or soldiers. And then this important cell known as Leydig or interstitial cell. Leydig or interstitial cell. Now, what is the function of Leydig or interstitial cell? Let's do that. Function of Leydig cell. It has only one function to perform, guys, and that's quite important. Production of androgen. Production of androgen. What is androgen? Hormone. Which hormone? Testosterone. Testosterone. Testosterone is a male hormone. It's a male hormone. It's main hormone of males. Main hormone of males. Okay. So tell me, which cell produces androgen? Leydig cell, also known as interstitial cell. Which hormone helps in nourishment of sperm? Sertoli cell. Which cells undergo meiosis and forms sperm? Male germ cells, also known as spermatogonia. Which cells are immune cells present in interstitial spaces? Immunocompetent cell. Okay, space present between the seminiferous tubule. I already told the answer. Interstitial spaces. Okay, all right, guys. So now, what does testosterone do in male body? A lot of functions. Let's get started. First of all, development of male reproductive parts. Whatever development takes place before and after birth, that is because of male hormone. Second, I told you the testes were present in the abdomen, then it came down to the scrotum during embryonic development. So that takes place due to testosterone. So it helps in the, what do you use the term? Descent of testes. Another thing, it helps in muscle growth. If you have seen, the males have more muscles than the females. Why? Because of testosterone. Also, if you'll see, females have a very soft skin. Right, I have a soft skin. Ma'am, stop it, ma'am. So male have a little harder skin, or we can say a dry skin, a thick skin. So that's because of testosterone. So it also changes the skin, dry and thick skin. Another very important function of testosterone is that it controls secondary sexual characters. Secondary sexual characters. What are these? Like beard. Do females have beard? No, I don't have beard. No. Right. Beard and mustaches. What's a beard? Beard is this, dadi. Mustaches, these, mooch, right? And then low pitched voice. Like I am a female, so I have a very high pitched voice. And you will say male have a very thick voice. So that's a kind of secondary sexual characters. Okay. And also it helps in development of secondary sexual organs during puberty. Fine. And there are hair on the body, pattern of hair. So when a male get mature, they got hair on chest, on armpits and in the groin region. You call it as axillary hair. Axillary hair. That's because of testosterone. Okay. Another important function of testosterone, it controls libido. What is libido? Sexual desire. So the feeling of having sexual intercourse or that sexual thoughts and emotions, that are due to testosterone. Testosterone is secreted by testes, but it goes to brain and then tells the brain the feeling of and emotions of love making and all. This is how it works. Produced by Leydig cell, but go to brain and tell the brain the feelings and emotions and love making. Okay, alright. So these are various functions. Let's revise it with me. Development of male reproductive parts, control libido, descent of testes, muscle growth, thick skin, and then secondary sexual characters. Which secondary sexual characters are those which comes at puberty. We say na in Hindi, ladka jawan ho gaya. So how does we go to know? Because he had that voice. First of all, the voice changes. In fact, you have hit the puberty. So you must have experienced that your voice was different. I'm talking about boys. Your voice was different and now you have a very hoarseness in voice, or we can say thick voice, okay. And some may have started growing the beard and mustaches, fine. So these are all the functions of testosterone. Now we have talked about, guys, blood vessel. Okay. So here comes a very important role of Sertoli cell, which I have not told you because we have not discussed the blood vessels yet. So Sertoli cell, they forms Blood-Testis Barrier. Blood-Testis Barrier. What is this and why does this want? This is blood vessel. Okay, this is blood vessel. Alright. This is your germ cells. I am explaining this in detail, so please listen. We say that Sertoli cell produces blood-testis barrier. Now what is a blood-testis barrier? What is its need? Why it is forming? The blood-testis barrier looks something like this because the arrangement of cells are like this. I have told you, first there is a layer of Sertoli cell and then it is a layer of germ cell. You must be thinking, ma'am, but this is not how it is drawn in NCERT. In NCERT, the structure is a cartoon structure. It's not the exact structure. Okay. So if you get into higher classes, you will learn that this is how the cells are arranged. Okay. So this is blood vessel containing blood. These are Sertoli cells. So these cells, the spermatogonia, right? So when you will see in NCERT, you will see these cells are not present in this manner, but when you will go to the higher studies, you will get to know the cells arrangement is little different. Okay, so the arrangement is you have blood vessel, you have Sertoli cell, and then you have your germ cells. Okay, these spermatogonia or germ cells, they form sperms. They form sperms. Sperms to a male is like a foreign cell. Okay, so if for example a male is producing sperm, or if you are a male, your sperm to your immune system is a foreign cell. Okay, so the blood vessel contains WBC. These WBCs can easily attack the sperm cell because they are foreign cell and they can kill it. So what nature thought, if blood vessel get direct contact, if the blood vessel get in direct contact with the spermatogonia and sperms, the blood and WBCs inside that will directly kill the sperms. But we don't want to kill the sperm. If the sperm got killed, the person will get infertile. So what nature has done, nature has formed blood-testis barrier. So this barrier prevent direct contact of blood and sperms, because sperms being a foreign cell can be killed by WBCs. So we don't want that blood should come in direct contact with the sperm. So this is how Sertoli cells, they have tight junctions in them that will prevent the direct entry of blood. So everything will be filtered from the blood and then enter into the spermatogonia for nourishment, right? Okay, so that's about it. Now let's get started with your duct system, guys. Let's get started with the duct system. Okay, before starting duct system, I think we should read NCERT. So what you have to do, open your NCERT books, because I have promised you that we will definitely read NCERT in the class only. Okay, so the first paragraph, the testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum. I think nobody will have any issue with this line. It is saying that testes are present outside your abdomen in a Scrotum. Why? Because the scrotum helps in maintaining the low temperature of testes 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal internal body temperature. Necessary for what? Spermatogenesis. What is spermatogenesis, guys? Formation of sperms. In adults, each testis is what shape? Oval shape. Length 4 to 5, width 2 to 3 centimeter. The testes is covered by a dense covering. I have told you there are coverings. One is tunica vaginalis and inside is tunica albuginea. Remember? Or the khichdi has been formed. Outer dense covering of tunica vaginalis, inside tunica albuginea. Okay. The NCERT has not mentioned it, but they have mentioned yes, there is a covering. Each testis has how many compartments? 250. You call it as testicular lobules. Next paragraph. Okay. Each lobule contain 1 to 3. How many? 1 to 3 seminiferous tubule. Yes, they are highly coiled. When you will take another section, you will not look at them as round structure. They will be highly coiled like this. Okay, so this is how it appears through longitudinal section like this. But if I take this section, they will appear rounder. You got it? In this section, they will appear like this, highly coiled structure. But in front, they will look like this. Okay. Now, each seminiferous tubule is lined on its inside by two types of cell, the male germ cell and Sertoli cell. You all know they contain two types of cell. The male germ cells undergo meiotic division, finally leading to sperm formation, while Sertoli cell provides nourishment to the germ cell. The regions outside the seminiferous tubules called interstitial spaces contain small blood vessel and interstitial or Leydig cell. So, spaces between seminiferous tubule is interstitial spaces which contain these cells and blood vessel. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormone called androgen, and what is its name? Testosteron. Other immunological competent cells are also present. I have told you they are immune cell. Now, it is time to start with the duct system. Duct system, how does it looks like? The function of duct is to store and transport sperm. Yes, it also temporarily stores sperms. It stores and transports some sperms, and some duct also helps in coitum maturation of sperm. Okay, and some ducts they also help in maturation of sperm. Very few maturation. Major maturation of sperm takes place in seminiferous tubule only by the Sertoli cell. But some changes they are also responsible, or we can say some changes can also occur in the duct system. Let's get started with it. So, this is your testes. Testes is divided into testicular lobule. This is what we have done. And these testicular lobule, they have seminiferous tubule. And seminiferous tubule is producing what? Sperms. This is what we have done. You got it? No ma'am, we don't got it. This is the testicular lobule. These are seminiferous tubule. Okay. So, seminiferous tubules are producing sperm, and now sperm needs to move out. How it will move out? First of all, it has ducts here known as tubuli recti. What are the name of these ducts? Tubuli recti. Every sperm seminiferous tubule have these straight duct known as tubuli recti. These tubuli recti, they open into a common duct. And this common duct is rete testis. What is its name? Rete testis. So, seminiferous tubule is producing sperm. So, sperm, when it has to move out, first of all, it will enter into tubuli recti. And tubuli recti open into a common duct known as rete testis. Okay. So, I can say rete testis is a duct where all tubuli recti are opening. And tubular recti, they are opening into, or they are opening from each seminiferous tubule. Now, this rete testes, it open into vasa efferentia. They are around 10 to 12 in number. They open into these duct known as vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia, they open into another very important duct known as epididymis. Known as epididymis. So, this duct is epididymis. Tubular recti has taken the sperms from seminiferous tubule. It opens into rete testes. Rete testes open into vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia move out of the testes. You can see this is testes. It move out of the testes into this duct known as epididymis. Epididymis stores the sperm and matures the sperm, and it is the longest portion. It is the longest portion, longest duct, mature and store sperm. Mature and store the sperm, right? So, epididymis later on open into vas deferens. It open into vas deferens. Okay, let me write it here. It open into vas deferens. You got it? So, tubular recti open into rete testes. Rete testes open into, say it with me, vasa efferentia. Vasa efferentia moves out of a testes. So, vasa efferentia is the one which is present inside the testes. This question can be asked. Tell the intratesticular duct. Intratesticular duct means duct present inside testes. They are tubular recti, rete testes and vasa efferentia. Then it open into epididymis. Epididymis open into vas deferens. Now, vas deferens is the one which will leave the scrotum. Which will leave the scrotum. Let me show you. Okay. You remember this diagram? Yes? You remember this? So, if you will see this diagram, if you can see it clearly, let me highlight the things with a brighter color. I think this is the much brighter color. Yes? Okay. So, this is epididymis. This one is epididymis. Epididymis then open into vas deferens. As you can see, this is inguinal canal. This is inguinal canal. So, this vas deferens is leaving the scrotum. This is leaving the scrotum. It will move up, loop over the urinary bladder. You can see, follow it, loop over the urinary bladder. Can you see that? Can you follow that? Yes. You can see vas deferens is leaving scrotal sac, looping over the urinary bladder. Guys, this is urinary bladder. It will loop over. Loop over means to move above it. Loop over the urinary bladder, and it is meeting or forming a union. It is meeting with two ducts, right? Or we can say there is a meeting of two ducts. This gland, this one, this is seminal vesicle. This is seminal vesicle. Seminal vesicle is accessory gland present behind the urinary bladder. So, vas deferens meet with the duct of seminal vesicle and form a common ejaculatory duct. Form a common ejaculatory duct. Let me draw the diagram. This is scrotum. This is testes. This is epididymis. Epididymis open into vas deferens which leave the scrotum. This will loop over the urinary bladder. If this is your urinary bladder, this is urinary bladder. The vas deferens will loop over the urinary bladder, and now it will meet with the duct of seminal vesicle. It will meet with the duct of seminal vesicle. Both will together form a common ejaculatory duct. Both will form a common ejaculatory duct. This duct, what is its name? Ejaculatory duct. This duct is ejaculatory duct. This is vas deferens. This is duct of seminal vesicle. Okay, let me just put it like this. Okay, this is duct of seminal vesicle. This is seminal vesicle. Alright. So this ejaculatory duct is going to enter into next duct. Just like retitestis open into vasa efferentia open into epididymis. Now comes the next one, that is urethra. So ejaculatory duct is going to drain into urethra. So as you know, there are two testes, and two testes will have two separate vas deferens. So two separate vas deferens will meet two separate ducts of seminal vesicle. There are two seminal vesicle. Okay, so this is one seminal vesicle, this is another. Let me show you a diagram. If this is one seminal vesicle, this is another. It has its own duct, it has its own duct. There are two testes like this, and both the testes have their own vas deferens. So both are uniting to form two ejaculatory duct. Can you see that? So how many ejaculatory ducts are there? Always two. In a male, two ejaculatory duct. Why? There are two testes, two vas deferens, two seminal vesicle, two ejaculatory duct, and both are going to enter into a common urethra. A common urethra. Okay. So here comes that ejaculatory duct will enter into urethra, and this urethra will then enter into penis. Penis is the external genitalia and open to the outside. Imagine this is the penis. Okay, this is the penis. So this urethra, guys, this urethra will open to the outside through this small structure, urethral meatus. Meatus means small opening, and the things will move out, and the things will move out. You got it? So how the thing started? Testes forming sperm, then epididymis, the sperm will enter epididymis through that various ducts, then goes to vas deferens. Vas deferens will leave scrotum, enter abdomen, loop over the urinary bladder, meet with the duct of seminal vesicle, form a common ejaculatory duct. So they are total two in a male. Okay, and then ejaculatory duct, it enter into urethra. Urethra is a long duct. It has three parts. It has three parts. I will let you know. Urethra is the one which starts from urinary bladder. So that means it will contain, or it will transport urine. It will transport urine, and it is also receiving the vas deferens and seminal vesicle. So it will also transport the semen. Like in females, we have urethra, vagina, anus. Anus is for digestion, digestive waste. Urethra is for urine, and vagina is for reproductive. Okay. In male doesn't have vagina. They only have two opening. One is urethral meatus, from where the semen and urine both comes out, but they never come out together. Okay. And second, anus for digestive. Okay. So this urethra, you can see it starts from here. Let me highlight it. It starts from here and move up to this point. So this portion of urethra is passing through this gland known as prostate gland. This portion of urethra is passing through the gland known as prostate gland. So that portion of urethra that passes through prostate gland is prostatic urethra. Then a very small portion near this gland is membranous urethra, and the one that passes through the penis is penile urethra. So we have divided urethra into three parts. How many parts? Three parts. We have divided urethra into three parts: the prostatic urethra, the membranous urethra, and the penile urethra. Penile one passes through penis. This is membranous is the shortest portion, and this one passes through prostate gland. Got it, guys? Yes, so maybe you have now know, or you have learned three glands are there: seminal vesicle, prostate, and bulbourethral. Okay, let me repeat it one more time for you. So how the thing starts? Okay, where does that go? I have written, I think that has been deleted somehow. I don't know where that page goes, yaar. we have, okay, here it is. So you can see here, the thing starts from, or the transport starts from seminiferous tubule. From seminiferous tubule, the sperm enter into tubular recti, then rete testes, then vas efferentia. Vas efferentia leaves the testes, enter into epididymis, okay, or epididymis, then enter into vas deferens. Vas deferens then loop over the urinary bladder, leave the scrotum, enter, it leave the scrotum and enters abdomen. Then it will loop over urinary bladder, loop over urinary bladder, and then it will meet with, guys, it will meet with what? We have done here, we have done here. It will meet with duct of seminal vesicle, and then ejaculatory duct is formed. Okay, let me show it here. Vas deferens and duct of seminal vesicle, together they form ejaculatory duct, and which will enter into urethra. Urethra has three portions. It moves inside the penis and open to the outside through an opening, and that is urethral meatus. And through this, both urine and semen, they comes out. How many ejaculatory duct a male have? 2. How? Because we have 2 testes, and each testis have its own vas deferens. You can see in this diagram also. This is one testis, this is another testis. Both have their separate vas deferens. You can see. Both have this separate vas deferens. Vas deferens meeting with the duct here, forming their separate ejaculatory duct, which are not seen in this diagram, and then enter into the urethra. This is entire urethra, and this is the penis. Okay, got it. All right, so let's write the sequence of sperm transport. First of all, tubular recti. You say it with me, okay? Then rete testes. After that, say it. Even if your parents say, oh, they are speaking themselves, you know, alone, they are talking alone to themselves, they are mad. Don't worry, just say it. Vasa or vasa efferentia, then epididymis. Then, guys, after epididymis, what is there? There is vas deferens. Vas deferens unite to form ejaculatory duct, and ejaculatory duct, then open into urethra. This is very important. Most common questions are asked from this one. Okay, all right. So let's read the NCERT of this. We have done NCERT of this. Let's talk about this. The male sex accessory ducts include rete testes, vas efferentia, epididymis, and vas deferens. The seminiferous tubules of the testes open into vas efferentia through rete testes. The vas efferentia leave the testes and open into epididymis, located along the posterior surface of the testes. So where it is present, as we have drawn it on the other side, so that's a posterior, means behind. It is not coming from front, it is coming from posterior surface. Okay. The epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascend to the abdomen and loop over the urinary bladder. It receives a duct from seminal vesicle and open into urethra as the ejaculatory duct. So vas deferens will leave the scrotum, go to abdomen, loop over urinary bladder, meet with the friend, seminal vesicle. Together they form a business known as ejaculatory duct. Okay, these ducts store and transport the sperm from the testes to the outside through urethra. The urethra originate from urinary bladder and extend through the penis to its external opening known as urethral meatus. Got it? I told you, urethra originate from urinary bladder. Okay. All right. So it's time to test how much have you learned. The testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum because testes are larger in size. Testes cannot be adjusted in abdomen. Testes are 2 in number. Scrotum helps in maintaining the low temperature of the testes necessary for spermatogenesis. Most of you have given the answer in seconds. So congratulations. That means you are doing it well. D for Diksha ma'am is the answer. Why nature has given you testes in scrotum? Because we need less temperature for spermatogenesis. Next. All are the functions of Sertoli cell except nourishment, androgen synthesis, development of sperm, secrete AMF. Nourishment, nurse cell, NN. Development of sperm, true, and also it secrete EMF. But this is a function of your Leydig cell or interstitial cell, and question says all are function of Sertoli cell except one, and you have to find that one. So answer is B. Okay, next. Read the following statements and find the incorrect statement. You have to find the incorrect one. The male germ cells undergo meiotic division, finally leading to sperm formation. The urethra originates from urinary bladder and extends through the penis to its external opening called urethral meatus. Each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormone called estrogen. First is true, male germ cell undergo meiosis. Second, say urethra originate from urinary bladder and then it extends through penis and open to the urethral meatus. Then another say testes have 250 compartment, testicular lobules, true, but Leydig cell do not form estrogen. Estrogen is our hormone, female hormone. It secrete androgen. Again the answer is D for Diksha ma'am. Okay, next. Which of the following is correct sequence of sperm transport? Urethra, testes, vas deferens, epididymis. Retitestes, vas deferens, epididymis, vas efferentia, urethra. Retitestes, vas efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, urethra. Vas efferentia, retitestes, epididymis, vas deferens, urethra. Very simple. This is the correct sequence. We have done it so far. Fine? Okay. All right. So that's it about the male reproductive system, testes and duct system. I hope you will do a homework that I am giving you. What's the homework, guys? Most of you must be knowing. NCERT we have already read, so nothing about NCERT today. First, revise plus make notes if you have not. Then learn the class notes. Revise NCERT. This is a sequence. Solve assignment question of these two topics. Can you do this for me? Can you do this for me? Just keep on following what I am saying, guys. Everything will be easy. Okay. Alright, so that's it from my side for the testes and duct system. I hope that was quite interesting. Let me know in the comments, and if you have any doubts, I always read comments. I will explain the thing in the next class, and if you feel difficulty in any topic, always do one thing, rewind the video, because you know sometimes things you do not catch the things in one go. That's quite normal. So that's the beauty of the lectures, video lectures, that you can rewind it and listen again. So you will definitely get to know it. But otherwise I have that trust that you get to learn and understand things in one go only from me. Okay. So this was your Diksha ma'am. I'll meet you in the next class. Till then, revise it, because in next class I'll be asking you a question. Also tell your scores. Also tell your scores of the questions that I have asked you in the starting of the lecture. I'll meet you in the next class. Bye bye. Take care and study hard.